What's up, everybody? You see the focus of the video here, toxic fan bases. Now, before I even get into the video, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I know based just off of the title and this thumbnail alone, there are some people that are already upset because they haven't even taken the time to listen yet. But I really hope that everybody would take the time to listen and hear what I have to say. And, you know, you'll understand why I actually put these images together. So from the start, I do want to go ahead and point out that I don't believe that there is any fan base that is 100% toxic. I do think there are some properties that just happen to have, you know, fan bases that are, you know, of a higher percentage of toxic people than some others. But I don't think that there's any franchise, whether it be a video game, a movie, TV series, whatever it is, I don't think any of them have a 100% toxic fan base. So just because I may point out something that you're a fan of, I'm not saying that you are a negative, toxic type of person. You know, it's down to the individuals and the way that they carry themselves when it comes to their fandom. Now, when I use the term toxic fans, what I'm really referring to is people that are heavily critical, like way beyond necessary, heavily critical of other people that even mention their fandom at all. And you know, this is something that we see on a regular basis, pretty much every second of every day online, you know. So this is a really regular thing that happens, and it's unfortunate because these individuals don't really realize how much they are hurting their own fandom. And that's the main reason why I'm doing this video. I'm hoping that people will realize that if you actually are a fan of something, you should want to see it thrive. You shouldn't be doing things that basically go against the success of that fandom. So I hope this will be an eye-opener for people that are doing that, and I want them to realize you should not try to hurt what you claim to be a fan of. So basically, the issue is that some fans are loyal to a fault. Now, what I mean by that is that some fans, they're trying so hard to defend what they're a fan of that they will put down other people, cuss out other people, you know, just be very negative towards others, trying to defend their fandom. Which I have to go and say this right now. It's always ridiculous to me when, you know, one human being will completely put down and tear down another human being over something that is fictional. I think that is just completely unnecessary. I don't understand how somebody could be so heartless to try to hurt someone else's feelings over something that is fictional. That's just, it's not cool, you know. And I know in this video some people are going to think that I'm trying to hurt feelings, but I'm telling you, the examples that I'm going to share, they come from real things that I have seen, and they're unfortunate, but that's where they're coming from, real things that I have witnessed. And again, I just got to stress this, that, you know, you could be loyal to something, but you don't have to try to tear down other people as a result of that. And there are some people that are fans, but they may not necessarily be harsh towards other, but still they just whine too much. Now, I don't think everybody that speaks up for their fandom is whining. That's not what I'm saying. And also, let me go ahead and read what I have here. It says, whining every time someone gets something incorrect about your fandom is also off-putting. That to me is a very true statement. It can turn people away from your fandom when you always whine about something because they got it incorrect. And like I said, I don't think correcting somebody is always whining, but we can see the difference. We can definitely see the difference. It's all in the way that somebody phrases something. Like, you know, something I've seen in my comments sometimes, like if I mispronounce a word, because I am a human being, we all are humans, we all mispronounce things sometimes, you know, I'll get some people that are very dramatic about it. They actually type out sigh, they put a whole bunch of spaces in it, they put the little crying emoji behind their comment, all this and that. I mean, they make it seem like they're whining, so I take it as whining. You know, if you put it out that way, then that's what I consider it to be. And it's just like I said, it's very off-putting. It makes your fandom look very, I mean, not your fandom, but your, you know, the fan base look very immature when you approach things in that way. So again, it's all about the way that you say things. I can understand, you know, correcting somebody if you feel like they need to be corrected, but it's all about the way that you approach doing that, though. And by the way, you know, when it comes to pronunciations and people being heavily critical about that, I really do think it's unnecessary. Now, when I was young, I was familiar with the character Thanos, but I'd never heard his name said aloud because he wasn't in cartoons. He wasn't in any movies at the time. All I ever saw was his name spelled out, and I never heard anybody talk about him. So I would say Thanos instead of Thanos. And every once in a while, I still slip and I say Thanos instead of Thanos. It's not a big deal because regardless, you know who I'm talking about. But, you know, I mispronounced his name a couple times in the video, and I had so many people being so dramatic about it. As a matter of fact, and this is why I'm saying people were dramatic, I had one individual that actually said, you are killing the comic book collecting community every time you mispronounce his name. I mean, how dramatic can you get? I mean, that person deserves a daytime Emmy for that. It's just ridiculous. You know, it is not that serious. So, and I'm using my own name to point this out, that my name gets mispronounced and misspelled all the time. I mean, all the time it happens, despite my name actually being on my channel. Even in my comment section, sometimes I see my name misspelled. It's not a big deal to me though, because I know they're talking to me, you know, so that's understood. So yeah, people being so critical about that, I think is unnecessary. Plus, you got to realize that people from different regions, different backgrounds, different countries are going to say things differently. So it's not a big deal. I think what's more important is the way that we treat each other and the way that we, you know, interact with each other. That's a lot more important than these perfect pronunciations. And by the way, you know, my last name, I pronounce it McInnis, but, you know, somebody says it a different way, I'm not going to be super critical about that. It's really not that important. And, you know, obviously I put the misspellings that I tend to see up here on the screen, which, by the way, I know there's at least one individual that's furiously typing and putting my name misspelled incorrectly, trying to be funny. It's just not funny. It's not clever. So let's just move on. So next up here says toxic fans have unrealistic expectations for new fans and potential fans. Now, Angry Joe, if you're not familiar with him, he is a YouTuber. He has a video game focused channel, although he does do movie reviews and some other things. But Angry Joe just got criticized by Kingdom Hearts fans because he talked about reviewing Kingdom Hearts 3, a game that hasn't even released yet. He already has Kingdom Hearts fans basically telling him that he should not review that game if he has not played the original games. That's absurd to me. Now, with any video game or movie, I think it's really up to the company putting it out to make sure that it is accessible to new fans. That's on them. I don't think you could tell somebody you got to go back, you got to play all the original games. First of all, you're not paying for them, so telling somebody else they need to go spend their money to catch up, that rubs me the wrong way. Also, it's just not necessary because, I mean, it's a lot of trouble because those games are across older systems. He pointed this out within his video. Those games are across older systems, and then you're looking at dozens of hours of time as well. So it's just really unreasonable. And like I said, it really is up to the company to give new players enough so that they are interested. And, you know, these fans, these diehard fans that are really behaving in a toxic manner, they got to realize they should want new fans to be attracted to this game. Okay, not just people that have played the older games, because, you know, the more players that come, you know, the bigger fan base that it has, the more likely there will be more sequels. So that's something that people got to wake up and realize. And, you know, like I said, some people just had these unrealistic expectations, like Pokemon fans expecting somebody else to know all of the Pokemon characters. You know, and they might be somebody that's new to it or somebody that might be casual with it. And it's just like, just because you have that knowledge base, you can't really expect that from other people that, you know, and if somebody says they're a Pokemon fan, you don't have to try to quiz them either. That's something else that some people will do. They'll try to quiz somebody to see if they're a so-called real fan. And that's just not necessary to do. Now, when it comes to video games, I definitely have to address video games on their own here for a moment. Again, some people have these unrealistic expectations where they expect people to be great players, you know, and they'll look down on people that are new. They call them noobs, newbies, whatever. You know, they tell them they need to get good, which it seems real popular right now, and it's a shame that that is actually popular. But you got to realize, though, there are some people that play games just to have fun, and they can have fun even if they lose. So again, for games to continue to be successful, and especially when it comes to game making, because it is so expensive. Making video games is very expensive. So for a game company to be successful with the game, they need casual players. I don't care how much hardcore players get aggravated when they have a a so-called newbie on their team or a noob on their team. Regardless, the companies need that. They need new players in order for the company to maintain. So that's something that people have to look at, and they need to stop putting down new players. Now, there are some franchises, from what I hear, certain games online that are good about welcoming people in, but then there are some other ones, and you see examples here like Overwatch and Fortnite, I think can be kind of cold when it comes to new players coming in. And as a matter of fact, I've watched footage of people playing Overwatch, and I just see how some people take it way too serious to the point where it just doesn't seem like fun to me. Now, I know some Overwatch fans are going to quickly say, no, that's not true. It is a fun game. But I'm telling you, I have watched the gameplay of it, and it basically turned me away from it, just the way that some people carry themselves when it comes to playing that game. Also with Fortnite, I used to play Fortnite almost on a daily basis, and I streamed it a couple of times on my channel. The one thing I really did not like about Fortnite, though, is the building mechanic, which is that's pretty important. You have to be able to build pretty well in order to really succeed with that game. But again, I would play it just for fun. I wasn't trying to be the best at it, but I had so many people, even just on my live streams, that kept commenting on my building skills or whatever, or the lack thereof, that it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I really don't like the building mechanic. I don't know why I'm even bothering with this, so I just stopped playing the game. And it's not like anybody took that away from me. It's just that they made me so aware of an aspect of the game that I didn't like that I just felt like, why even bother? And it's like, I know some people would say, well, you could take the time to learn and get better at it, but no, I mean, I would just rather go play something that interests me more, and especially something where I'm not going to be criticized as much, because that's just not fun. It really took the fun out of it. So, yeah, with these video games, like I said, this is really something that has made me such an isolated player. I prefer to play games on my own. Even if I'm playing a game online, I prefer not to be on my mic, just to avoid these toxic fans that really take all the fun out of playing the games. And something else here, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because I have addressed sheep before on my channel. As a matter of fact, I did a video all about sheep, people that expect people to be just like them. This is definitely true of toxic fans, because some toxic fans, or I should say most toxic fans, they expect people to not only like what they like, but to like it exactly in the same way and for the same reasons. And that's just unreasonable. But this is why, though, you will see some people that they may like the same thing. For example, let's say two people like Avengers Infinity War, and they're talking about it. You'll have some people that will still get into a big argument over the movie. Not a discussion, but an actual argument, just because they view some things in a different way. But it's kind of silly to me, because you're both fans of it. You're on the same side. So I don't think people have to be fans of something in the exact same way. It's really not necessary. Now, toxic fans also can be illogical, and especially when it comes to source material. Some people are just slaves to the source material, to the point that it doesn't always make sense. So I'm using an old example, but this is one that just always comes to my mind. When Iron Man 3 came out, some people really did not like the way that the Mandarin was handled, and I get it. I'm a fan of that movie, but I get some people not liking how the Mandarin was handled. But at the same time, though, I don't understand people that said they should have did the Mandarin like he was in the comic. First of all, I don't believe that people love the Mandarin the way that some people act like they did. I didn't hear these big calls and cries for the Mandarin before he even came up with that movie. So people saying that he should be true to the source material, please, I think sometimes you got to look at the source material. The Mandarin, let's be real, was a horrible racist stereotype. I mean, he was a horrible Asian stereotype. So in this day and age, there is no way that Marvel would make that character exactly how he was in the comics, especially when China is one of the biggest movie markets in the world right now. So again, people always acting like the source material is what you got to go with, I just really don't agree with that. It's not always true. There are some things that just don't translate well, like some of the costumes from the comic books. They're not always going to translate well. So people wanting to see Wolverine in the yellow and blue, I mean, just imagine what that would look like on the big screen. I mean, there's some things that just don't work. Now, also, people got to realize, change can be a good thing. For example, with The Walking Dead, Daryl was not a character in the comics, but he ended up being a fan favorite on the TV series. You know, that's a positive change. Now, there's some other changes that people may not like with other properties. Like, I know some people really did not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movies, and also people did not like, the G.I. Joe movies. And I understand that. That's fair. But the source material is still there. You can still be a fan of that. If you don't like, some adaptation, so be it. But you don't have to act like that destroys the source material. They are really two separate things. I know people have different feelings about the Watchmen movie. Me personally, I'm a fan of it overall. It does have its flaws, but overall I'm a fan of it. And I'm also a fan of the graphic novel. They have their differences. I think they're both good for their own reasons. And I don't think either one of them is perfect. And, sometimes toxic fans act like the source material is perfection. And that's why they have to stick to it. I don't agree with that. And, again, people that will whine and some people that will be dramatic. I think one phrase that people really got to put aside is saying that something killed your childhood. That's not necessary. Like when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, some people said, oh, they just killed my childhood. No, they didn't. Your childhood didn't go anywhere. You still got your memories. You can still go back and watch the original series, or you can watch the Nickelodeon cartoon, whatever. You have other ways to check out the Ninja Turtles. So, yeah, I think we just have to realize, some things are going to be misfires, but it's okay. That happens sometimes. So, really, this is going to be like the last point that I make here. And really, this is the overall point of this video. I want toxic fans to realize that, when I say toxic fans, some people say I'm not toxic. I'm just a hardcore gamer and I love this game, or I'm a hardcore comic book reader, whatever it is. Hardcore is another word that some people use, and that's okay. If you really are what you consider to be a hardcore fan, that's absolutely okay. But you got to realize that companies cannot thrive just off of the hardcore fan base. This is why they have to try to draw in, the casual viewers or the casual gamers, because they are a business. And if you want to see that fandom of yours continue to be a fandom, then you should realize there has to be accessibility for new fans. Okay, so you got to support that and stop basically pushing people away from your fandom, because the more you push people away, the more likely that fandom is not going to have longevity. And then, of course, you'll be upset, if a company can't produce whatever it is you're a fan of anymore. But you got to realize, don't be a part of the issue. Now, I do want to give you two examples relating to this. For one, I had somebody recently on a video say, and of course, those of you that follow my channel regularly, you know that my main focus on my channel is Funko Pop collecting. And of course, with San Diego Comic-Con about to happen, Funko is sharing some exclusive figures with retail stores so that collectors across the country will be able to get them, and also sharing with some retailers in other countries so that they can sell them as well. So I actually had somebody say on a video that they feel like these figures should be convention only. And right away I was surprised by that, because if you are a Funko Pop collector, you should realize that this is a positive thing. It gives collectors, throughout the country, and of course around the world, in some places around the world, an opportunity to get these figures. And it also is a big financial boost to the company. So saying that you want it to be convention only, to me, everything to be convention only is very selfish. I don't think there's any other way to describe that. And you all can let me know if you got another word for that, but that's the only way I can see it, is as selfish, because that hurts collectors and it hurts the company. And I know I'm using the word hurt there to be a little bit dramatic, but for when I'm talking about collectors, but for the company, it actually does hurt financially. It really does hurt financially. So that to me is just not a positive attitude to have at all. There has to be accessibility so that the company can thrive. And to wrap this up, I definitely have to point out that when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's, just from my personal experience on my channel, this is the fan base that I've had the most issues with. And let me stress again that I am not saying that all Five Nights at Freddy's fans are negative, but overall, like I said, this has been the fan base that I've had the most issues with people telling me that I'm wrong about this and that in the comments. And, like I said before, I'm human. Sometimes I do make honest mistakes. But the more that people just pile on about it, the more that makes me not to want to even try to learn about this fandom, because it just seems negative, because I get so many negative comments about it. Even when I don't make a mistake, there are still people that find something to complain about when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'll just be real, you know, because of the way some of the fans behave, I never want to learn anything about Five Nights at Freddy's. I just really don't care anymore. Even if they the movie does get produced, I know there's talk about a movie coming out based on Five Nights at Freddy's, I will be the first person in line to go watch something else, because I just don't care anymore. I've even considered with my Funko News videos, which is by far my most popular series that I have on my channel, I've even considered, regardless of how many figures Funko puts out related to Five Nights at Freddy's, that I just won't cover them anymore. Now, I did decide I'm not going to do that, because that would not be fair, because like I said, I know that that fan base is not 100% toxic. So what I will do moving forward is what I've been doing is pretty much when these toxic fans come along and they're being very negative about their fandom, I'm just going to block them. Now, even if they're not necessarily being negative, but they're just hounding me over and over and over about their figures, when's this coming out, when's this coming out, why haven't you talked about this, you know, all those things, I'm going to block them, because I just don't want to be aggravated about it. But again, to stress this, I am not saying that all fans of that property are negative, but I've just come across way too many that are. So that is going to do it for this video. Pretty sure we're going to have some interesting comments on this one. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that actually stuck with the video all the way through, what I really want you to do is to take some time and go through the comments. Maybe not right away, maybe give it a little while, then come back, go through the comments and check and see how many people make it obvious that they did not watch the full video. Because I guarantee there's going to be some people that had a reaction just based off of the thumbnail or just off of the first couple of minutes, and there's going to be some people that misquote me as well. So just to entertain yourself and see what I deal with also, you know, go through the comments after a while and just see exactly what it looks like. You know, I think that will be pretty interesting. But I do look forward to your comments, you know, from those of you that actually did listen all the way through. And if you have some experiences related to this topic, I'd also like to hear those. So whatever you feel like you want to share down in the comments, I do look forward to checking it out. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all again real soon.